Hey, what's crackin', fellas? It's Entei back for the fifth and final time for sip of the Kraken Cup. I know that makes you sad that I'm not coming back, but that's just the way it goes. Let's make sure we go out with style. And you know how we start. We gotta start with the results. So the Hydreigon division played the Komao division, and the Tyranitar division played the Gudra division. So this was another in-conference week. So we can see that the Hydreigon division did pretty well. They got three of their coaches found victory, and then Tyranitar and Gudra split the games 2-2. So with all that in mind, let's remind everybody of last week's standings, looking very tight in the Tyranitar division especially. But with all of the matches taken into effect, let's see what this week's standings look like. So barring divine intervention, the San Diego Wild Chargers have clinched the division leader for the Hydreigon division, but things are still very tight basically everywhere else. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens for the wild card in both of these conferences. The East Coast Excadrill and Halifax Hydreigons are in contention for the division leader, but then also the Classic City Crush and Undead Legion are competing with them for the wildcard slot. So that is going to be interesting to see in the next 2 weeks. Over on the other side, it's really hard to say who's going to come away with the division leader or wildcard spot at this point in time. The Chicago Flashfire and Gutsy Golbats are practically neck and neck, though Pisces has the +3 differential boost over Inversify. And then on the other side of the field, even closer, the Cape Town Crocodiles are 4-1 at +12, but Krakenation and the Boston Bishops are right on their heels, 4-1 at +11. So very exciting stuff, very exciting stuff. I skipped that slide too soon, sorry. I made you miss the transition, my fault. Let's get into superlatives. I realized last week how easy it is to do pictures instead of actually screen capturing the game, so I'm sticking with that. I apologize. I went super hard on the analysis document, so I'm still a little flustered, but anyways, go check out that document if you're interested. But best match is going to Daz and the Halifax Hydreigons versus Ethereal Rose and the Rosa Raiders. This was one of the, well, I won't say that, but I really did enjoy watching this match. It was super back and forth, and again, I didn't know who was going to win until the very end. It came down to Durant missing a first impression because of hustle, and it was just very gripping to watch, and both coaches prepped well and played well. Obviously, things could have been done differently by both coaches, and maybe the outcome could have changed based on those, but nevertheless, it was a very fun match to watch, and I would definitely check it out if you haven't already. The link will be down in the description to the replay. Best performance is going to Rylai's of the San Diego Wild Chargers, completely overwhelming Nala of the East Coast Excadrill. It's, the usual stuff. Rylai's just, well, actually it wasn't usual stuff. I should take that back, because Rylai's did not come out guns blazing like we're used to with his hyper offense team. He proved that he is able to play slowly and patiently and keep his win conditions alive and just whittle the opponent through sheer power of will, basically. It was a lot of toxicking and status, and it wasn't like the most exciting to watch, but it was, in my opinion, the most overwhelming victory this week. Nalo was locked out of the game practically from turn one, and just huge shout out to Rylai's for playing very well with a hyper offense team in a non-hyper offense style, if that makes sense. I think that's really impressive. And then next we have the best turnaround, which is going to Undead Legion versus Jen and Goff. Ionite had a couple really tough losses to talented opponents. I think it was the Gutsy Golbats and the San Diego Wild Chargers. So those are two really tough coaches to go against, and Ionite got wrecked both times, but taking that in stride, he came back this week and actually played really well versus Jen and Goff, prepped really well, and executed the game plan really well. So even though Jen and Goff didn't have you know, the best game, I still feel like the best turnaround goes to Undead Legion, just because he was dealt 2 pretty fat L's that probably will push him out of any kind of playoff contention, and that really sucks, but he kept his head high and managed to get a win here, so that is why Ionite is getting best turnaround for week 5. Next we have the Pokemon Spotlight, which is going to Cinderace from the Gutsy Golbats. I cannot stand to put your icon on the screen, so here is a picture of a Golbat chewing on a gut or a stomach. But basically, the Cinderace had Taunt, which was super clutch versus the Clefable, but also had U-Turn to make proactive plays while forcing the opponent to play reactively, and Super Fang, which didn't, I mean, it didn't do that much, but it did like force the Gastrodon to recover and got some chunk on, I think it was really just Gastrodon. Maybe there was one other thing it got chunk on. I don't quite remember. But the more important part was it kept gaining momentum and completely shut down like a duo boosting Clefable. I don't know. It had Calm Mind and Cosmic Power, but it just got completely countered by this Cinderace. And I think Cinderace even ended up almost finishing the match because it also has Pyro Ball, which is incredibly powerful. So, yeah. Definitely has to go to Cinderace this week. Really no competition. And next up we have the power rankings. I know this is your favorite. So this was the power rankings for last week, and this is the power rankings for this weekend. Huge, colossal shifts. There were some radical things happening this week. The Po-Town Nicket not only broke their loss streak, but managed to get 2 wins in a row. So they are now first place, mainly because San Diego Wild Chargers, Rylai's, I know I just finished saying how well he played, but in actuality, he got a 4-0 instead of a 5-0, and that is something I will not abide by. So he drops down to 16th, loses 13 places. The Boston Bisharps follow suit because of their atrocious play versus the London Finion, which again is why the London Finion are now in second place. It was a very close 6-0. The London Finion had him on the ropes, but I mean, what can I say? Jaskar was just the better player last week, and he got 6-0'd just because unfortunate circumstance. Okay, all right, I can't do this anymore. Never mind. Those are not the actual power rankings. April Fools in January. Here are the true power rankings. Not much to report. I'm pretty sure the Full Metal Alchemy did not move up 11 places, though. I think they moved up 1 place. So that's a typo. That might be left over from the April Fool's one. But things sort of stayed the same. I ended up giving Rylai's the first place position just because, I mean, he's undefeated and he's been playing really well and definitely hitting his stride with his team. So, and he's been going against what I would consider talented coaches for the most part, which wasn't necessarily the case in earlier weeks, but I think he's definitely earned that spot now. Boston Bisharps, I'm leaving where they are, and the Gutsy Golbats have risen to 3rd place. I think usurping, maybe Nala was 3rd place. I don't remember. The East Coast Exodrill. I had the Cape Town Crocodiles in 1st place, and I said, or last week I had them in 1st place, and I said in the video that this probably doesn't make sense because I think they're going to lose to the Gutsy Golbats. And lo and behold, they did. So now that's why the Cape Town Crocodiles fell from graces. I don't know why I put them in 1st. A little oopsie there. But nothing else really to report. I feel like this is pretty fair, but whatever, dude. I should have just pranked you guys and left that as the power rankings. Anyways, let's get into my predictions. My week 5 predictions were as follows. I did decently. I got 5 out of 8, which is a little better than 50-50. So my record goes up to 20 out of 32. Again, slightly better than 50-50. The Full Metal Alchemy game, Undead Legion just came out as the better player and ended up getting a win, so I definitely failed my prediction there, and I will take the L. The Raleigh Rotoms failed me once again and clicked an electric move versus Diggersby, which if they had clicked anything else, they would have sealed the game and won, but they turned their brain off when it counted and I ended up getting that prediction wrong. So I will never be rooting for you again, Pokeboy. I hope you're happy. And finally, the Chicago Flashfire. Again, like the Free, I don't feel like Free played very well. He was thinking too hard. He tried too hard to outplay Darmanitan, and Darmanitan ended up just murdering half of his team because he couldn't be bothered just to attack it. He kept doing these double switching shenanigans, and yeah, he definitely got hacked a lot, and that is unfortunate, but it would have been a lot less unfortunate if he had just done the thing and attacked the Darmanitan and hadn't done all this shenanigans and lost a bunch of team members. So that was also unfortunate. I don't know how that game would have panned out if different choices had been made in like the first 2 or 3 turns, but it is what it is. Pisces played very well, obviously, and stuck to his win conditions and managed to get a 3-0, maybe? So a pretty assertive performance, I would say. But moving on to my final predictions. This is the last time I'll be predicting for you fine folk. I have the Resort City Mars Shadows beating the Undead Legion. I still gotta believe in Hail. Even though the Undead Legion played much better this past week than I think they've ever really played before. I still think that Free is a more talented player. He just needs to focus on not trying to outthink his opponent so much because he's going to trip over his own feet. I have the Cape Town Crocodiles beating the Rosa Raiders, even though, well, I guess there is no even though. I just think it's Bruno is much more practiced than Ethereal Rose, and that it should be a pretty easy matchup for him. I also have the San Diego Wild Chargers beating the Po-Town Nicket for pretty much the same reason. Can't say too much there. Rylai's is playing really well. The Po-Town Nicket are struggling to... they're just now gaining momentum, but I think it's going to be a little too late, and they're probably going to get smacked by Rylai's. I do have the Boston Bishops beating the Classic City Crush, and I have... I've gotten all of Monk's matches correct, I think. I believe that is correct, but and he has been winning recently, but I do not think he can take on Akeem. I do not think he can take on that caliber of player, sadly, which is going to suck because that means he probably will not get the wild card, and it will go to Daz. I also have the Gutsy Golbats beating the Pennsylvania Poniards. Again, I'm just giving it to who I feel is the more talented coach, and Versify has been playing incredibly well and just beating players left and right, so I don't think that's going to stop now. I also have the Full Metal Alchemy beating the Rally Rotoms because I will not vote for the Rally Rotoms. But I also think that Jen Inkoff has been getting a lot better. I think he regressed this week and made some pretty unfortunate mistakes and misplays and just kind of played too quickly. But I think if he can focus, and he's proved that he can focus and win, I think actually he has a chance to beat Pokeboy, especially if Pokeboy self-destructs like he did last week, or this week, I guess. I also have the Halifax Hydreigons beating the London Finion. Jaskar has just checked out this season. It's clear he does not care at all about what's going on and just wants his matches to finish, which is unfortunate to see, but there's no way he wins. There's no way he beats Daz. So, yeah, that should be probably a free win. And then this is really the only match that I am excited for. I guess, well, I'm excited for Boston Bishops versus Classic City Crush, but I'm also excited for East Coast Excadrill versus Chicago Flashfire. I think it's going to be close, but I'm going to give it to the Chicago Flashfire. I think they... just strictly looking at the matchup, because I feel like these coaches are at least relatively equivalent in skill level. I'm not going to look at power rankings, but I feel like they should be around the same spot. But I am going to give it to Pisces because I think the matchup is better for him, and yeah, I don't know how, I don't want to give too much away or like influence the match with my opinions on what Pokemon should be brought, but I'll just leave it at that. I think that Pisces has the superior matchup, and given that I think they're equivalently matched in terms of skill, or at least a near equivalency, I'm just going to give it to Pisces for that reason. I think he played really well last week, and that will continue into week 6. So that's going to do it. Sip of the Kraken Cup week 5. And that is also going to do it for me, Entei. I will not be uploading on the channel for probably a while. unless things go very differently than I expect they will, or very differently than I hope they will. So I just want to say a quick thank you. It's been really great to see. I mean, okay, first of all, I do hate it every time someone ats me and pesters me about getting this thing done, because it's just annoying. But with that being said, I really do appreciate all the enjoyment you guys are getting out of these videos. It takes a lot of time and effort, and it's nice to see that paying off in something that you actually find enriching and fun to watch. So just thank you. From Entei, thank you very much for watching these videos and sticking with me. It's been great watching you guys for the debut season of the Kraken Cup, and I hope when I come back I can do this again, because I actually find it to be a lot of fun. So that's it from me. I don't want to get too mushy on you guys. This has been Entei and Krakenation